To leave your thoughts in the mailbag, you can send us questions@ftwpodcast.com. You can also leave a comment wherever you see our videos and audio posts, especially on YouTube and Google+. This one comes from Jason Wegner. He said, I know you guys only talk about Raw from WWE, but did you watch that stupid trick or street brawl between Ambrose and Cesaro on SmackDown? Seeing Cesaro getting dirty deeds with a pumpkin on his head is reminiscent of Damian Sandow's matches from earlier this year. Rip Cesaro's career. Did you guys watch that match?
Only the little bits of clips that you see on the replay on Raw.
Yeah, I don't recall seeing that, but I do remember other parts of that episode, so I don't know if I zoned out or fell asleep. But here's my complaint. This is something I was thinking about earlier today, and then this question popped up. There's no more, as they call them, support guys, or I'm trying to think of what the term was.
Enhancement talent.
Thank you, enhancement. That's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, we don't have any enhancement talent anymore, like the Brooklyn Brawler, guys who are there, the jobbers. Let's just call them what everyone calls them, the jobbers. We don't have those guys. So other guys have to take that role. Right now, Cesaro has to for some reason. Maybe it's because he's previously been outspoken, and the company doesn't like things he said, or what. I mean, guys get the
Foreigner.
Huh?
Foreigner.
Oh, that too. Hey, I'm the only thing saving Zack Ryder from having to do it is a torn rotator cuff. So what can you do? But yeah, I mean, but since we don't have those support guys to
Enhancement.
Jobbing, it's probably why he's got to do this, and I don't think it's that big of a deal.
From the live chat, the tail end of that comment makes it sound like Sandow is in a bad position when he is one of the most over characters right now. I'm sort of with that idea. We didn't necessarily like how Sandow was being used, but he was on TV consistently every single week, and that's something that we can't say for guys like Xavier Woods or Kofi Kingston or Bo Dallas or really a big chunk of the roster. So
But I think. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, for Cesaro, I mean, yes. I think we can all agree that we would love for him to win matches and be in championship contention, whether that's the Intercontinental Championship or the World Championship. But he's on TV. I mean, that's not Rip his character. That's, hey, he is working through whatever they're putting him through, and hopefully on the other end he'll be winning matches again.
Yeah, but I don't think Cesaro's character is over. Oh, I'm sorry. I read the comment wrong. Never mind. I was reading over about Sandow.
Most of that
he still gets good reactions.
It's a shame.
Sandow or Cesaro?
Cesaro.
Cesaro is over as a wrestler. A character, no way. He has no character. Not right now. They've negated all that.
Okay. All right. Well, regardless, let's move on. The Authority. Basically, last week we were talking about how Vince McMahon came back, and there was the whole stipulation added to the main event for Survivor Series, where if the Authority loses, they could disband. You guys wanted to place a stipulation on John Cena, and if John Cena loses, basically like what happens to him. So from Hank Rowland, he said if John Cena's team loses, he should give up his title shot against Brock Lesnar. LB Clash of Kings said, I would prefer a stipulation be if Cena's team loses, he must either decide to retire or turn heel. Which of those two options do you guys like?
I'm going to go with retire, only because you can't force someone to be a bad guy. Look at the Bellas. I mean, you try and make the one do stupid shit to break her down. It's not going to make her mad, or it's not going to break her down. She's going to fight back. It'll be a feud like fucking WrestleMania or some shit. So Cena will not turn heel.
Yeah, if you have Cena turn heel as a stipulation, you get that thing where he joined the Nexus, and that didn't work out well for anybody.
Oh, that was terrible.
I do like the idea of Cena being punished by losing his title shot. Except I don't know why he would be the only one to suffer if his team lost.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, if a stipulation like that was added, it would be added for everyone. Sure, I get you, but I definitely like I out of these three ideas, or two major ideas, the one that I like the most is that he would lose his title shot. I think that would make the most sense storyline-wise for him to do that. But yeah, he would have to also then, do something to Sheamus. Maybe Sheamus loses his rematch opportunity against Rusev, or Big Show has to cry in the middle of the ring again for 3 months straight, or
I don't think those guys need a punishment though, because Cena's the captain. It's all on him. Doesn't matter if he gets pinned, as long as the team wins. So if he had to trade in his title shot, I mean, that also gives them a reason to keep Brock Lesnar off TV for a little while longer, because then there's no one to challenge him.
True. With you. All right, so let's jump into some TNA. And once again, we are still in the mailbag segment. To leave a comment in the mailbag, all you have to do is leave a comment on our YouTube channel or anywhere else you see our video posts, whether it be Facebook or Google Plus or Twitter or whatever. Last week we talked about who was the best TNA World Champion in 2014. We had 4 options: Magnus, EY, Bobby Lashley, and now Bobby Roode. Warren Jesse said, I think all 4 of them suck as champions. Give the belt back to Austin Aries. He's their only hope and the best talent to me. I don't disagree with this. I think I would much rather Austin Aries have been in title contention or holding the title than, say, how long they had the title on EY or Bobby Lashley.
I don't disagree with the sentiment that Aries should have been in there somewhere. I would like to know Warren's criteria for what makes a good champion, though, considering the talent we're talking about here. Because I don't think any one of them are bad champions. EY's reign left a lot to be desired, but that's more how he was used and what he did during his reign.
Right. Which you could say the same thing about Magnus. I mean, it's just a matter of how they were booked as champions that made them look not as attractive. But Lashley, I don't know. I'm still siding with Lashley. The Bradshaw also chimed in on YouTube, and he said that he would also give it to Lashley because he seemed like the heel golden boy who was booked as a badass, beating everyone in his way, including the MMA side. So the MMA side in Bellator, I mean, that was all circumstantial, but still, I think that added so much to the story to have him like just crushing on both sides of, TNA and Bellator.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So last week we also talked about what should happen next for Lashley, and specifically like his relationship with MVP and Kenny King, and where those guys should go next. King 1836. Basically, he said that he wanted Lashley to just leave TNA and go and stay in Bellator. Kenny King should go for the X Division Championship, and MVP should go for the world title, which is right around the same things that we said, except for we also wanted Lashley in TNA. And Kyle Williamson wanted MVP to tag with King for the tag team titles, while Lashley would continue chasing Roode for another shot. So do you which again is pretty much echoing what some ideas that we said. But what do you think about that? Would you rather see Kenny King go for the X Division Championship or for the tag team titles?
I think X Division seems more likely at this point. Uh, it's hard to say just from the limited time reaction time that we got, but King seems to be siding a little bit more with Lashley than MVP at this point. That they are teasing that breakup really hard, and Lashley hasn't actively turned on MVP yet, but MVP kind of shouldered him aside to push his own agenda. So it's hard to see a scenario where they won't split up. I think King's suggestion is more likely. Kenny King in the X Division, MVP and World Title. Lashley goes away and focuses on the Bellator for a while.
I think Nick pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, live chat is talking about, potentially Kenny King, maybe even for a world title shot, but King definitely needs to do something to legitimize himself, and I completely agree with that. I mean, that's something that we've wanted for a while, is either him going for the X Division or something for him to get out of the shadows of MVP and Lashley, and really out of the shadows of the mid card, and be put into like a real illuminated spot on the roster, because he can wrestle very well. He's very good on the mic, but for some reason, he's just not being given that real opportunity to succeed.
Can I make a recommendation for future podcasts?
Sure.
That we call Kenny King Kenny instead of King, because if you even momentarily think WWE, you think you're talking about Jerry the King Lawler, and when you start talking X Division and World Champion, it just doesn't fit. Every time you said King, I kind of giggled to myself.
He has an unconventional offense. He uses fireballs. There.
All right. At Mark_Noyce wrote in. He said, "Are you guys having as much trouble getting into Impact as I am? I just can't get into it and enjoy the show knowing that it could be over." I felt the same way. Yes, I do. I feel the same way. It's not so much knowing that the general season is ending for TNA real quickly, but it's just a matter of I don't want to say I'm overwhelmed, but overall, like, TNA was just hitting like every single note so hard and so high for almost like 2 months straight, like the whole TNA NYC tour, that first run in Bethlehem. It's hard to maintain that bar of excellence, and it does seem like they've kind of slowed things down, and they have kind of started to meander a bit. So I think my feeling is more along the lines of they've kind of slowed things down, that they just can't continue at that rate that they were before. Not so much that it's ending soon, but ending soon is on the back of my mind for sure.
TNA has seemed to be in sort of a holding pattern of late, and like you said, Garvin, they can't go that high-octane pace 100% of the time. They've got to back things off a little, they've got to slow things down, which is what happened. And that's not to say that there's been a decline in quality as far as matches and stories go, but there does seem to be more of a general malaise surrounding the product, and I don't know if that's because all the TV drama is in the background influencing things, or if it's something else. Generally, I've had a lot more trouble connecting with wrestling in general, be it TNA or WWE. If it's on TV, I haven't felt as much inclination to watch it as it happens of late. So I've been wondering if that's just been me. So I don't know if it makes me feel better knowing that I'm not the only one that feels like that. But yeah, it does seem to feel like an off season of sorts.
Yeah.
And that seems like it's always the case this time of year. It's like everyone kind of slows down. It's just that TNA was doing so well for them to just put the brakes on. It does come off odd. Joe, what do you think about all this?
Yeah, it's kind of bittersweet, right? Because we know, I mean, because that's how I was feeling. Like, is this the Impact that was supposed to be the beginning of the end? Or are they doing another one? Where's the taping stop? I don't know, but I know it's coming up soon, and that sucks. It's even worse than watching your favorite TV, like sitcom or drama on TV, because we're not used to wrestling having like a season like that.
Right.
I mean, we have the season of, say, day after WrestleMania all the way around to WrestleMania. But outside of that, I mean, but it doesn't, like for WWE, it just doesn't stop. So, yeah, it's kind of a bummer. We kept talking, we kept talking about how we wanted like a break. We've had many discussions about how we wanted, a season. We wanted an endpoint. And yet now we're getting one. We're finally getting that end of season kind of deal. And we're bummed out about it. It's bittersweet.
Yeah, that's a good point, because anytime I'm at the end of a season, I usually don't watch it. I usually skip that final episode and wait until the next season start and then watch 2 episodes back to back.
Right.
Yeah. So that's probably playing like heavily into it, but just because we're so used to it, we're not thinking that that's the reason. But it might be. So yeah, totally agree with you, Mark. Impact is a little difficult to get into right now, but putting our finger on it, it's hard to tell why. What's really the cause. We are going to talk a bit more in depth about TNA's TV schedule, upcoming schedule, a little bit later on in the show, so stay tuned for that. Finally, the final message in our mailbag is from Amandeep, and this is in response to Vince McMahon's return. It's actually 2 points. One is, that Amandeep would have preferred to see Shane O'Mac instead of Vince. That even though Shane sold his stock and is out of the company, it would be nice to see him versus Vince McMahon. And I'm in complete agreement with that. I'm used to Vince coming back when things get kind of slow and boring, but having Shane O'Mac come back, I think, would really help things push forward. It would make it feel different and important. And Vince coming back right now, it doesn't feel important at all.
I don't necessarily know that Shane would have any more affected Vince. Like, yeah, the first time he comes back, you get a huge pop. But then I don't think he'd really have any more effect afterward than Vince. I think Vince would get a better pop more consistently afterward. I think it's a moot point, because I don't think he ever is going to have anything to do with the company again.
Oh, sure.
As much as we'd like him to, I don't think it's ever going to happen.
It's just a shock value. Having Shane come back would be shocking, but having him come back for an extended period of time I think would help things a lot. Right now, we know Vince isn't coming back full time. He isn't coming back for more than 5 minutes, like we saw this week. All right, so outside of that, Mandeep also pointed out a rumor about a potential power struggle that he's been reading. Vince and Triple H, and how Vince threatening to disband the Authority could help continue to push that, potentially for a WrestleMania 31 match between Triple H and The Rock. The Rock obviously would be taking Vince's side and representing Vince. So we have seen that tease when Rock made his really, really, really brief return about a month and a half ago. So do you like that idea, that storyline angle, as far as where we are now with the Authority and where that would take us?
I don't know. I really don't want to see Triple H back in the ring for any reason. I don't know if I want to see The Rock back in the ring. As much as I like the idea of Rock being the guy or being a guy to fight Rusev, for the national pride, I don't really see that feud going anywhere. It feels like a Goldberg versus Lesnar or a Rock versus Cena. It just feels like a quote-unquote special attraction fight with no substance behind it. And the WWE has enough of that stuff already. They need to focus on the talent they've got full-time, cultivate the talent they've got coming up, and they need to make more stars, not keep relying on the ones from the past.
I mean, I would have liked to see Shane O'Mac, even though there's no possible way. I'm a Shane O'Mac fan. I like the guy. He's a cool guy. He's got some moves. That being said, this Triple H thing, I don't want to see Triple H back in the ring. I've said that many times. I don't want to see Rock back in the ring. Granted, his last match with Cena was much better than the first match with Cena. It's just, we don't need to keep bringing him back. I mean, if you're going to do anything, bring back Donald Trump, have him fight Triple H. It's either that or Vince versus Donald Trump in the ring.
It's equally as absurd. You're right, Jim.
Yeah, it's just it's crazy.
Yeah,
we don't need this.
Benjamin in the live chat, I think, says it best, or at least poses the question best. Why is there such a desire to rehash old Attitude Era stories? I'm in complete agreement with this, and I think we've all echoed this. We don't want to see these guys anymore. We want to see the focus on the new guys. We discussed the current placement for Damian Sandow or Cesaro. We'd rather the focus be put on those guys. The guys that are going to be around for the next 5 to 10 years, not another rehash of something that we've seen for the last 15 years. We want to see something new, something different. We don't need this. We don't want this. So yeah, I think we are all in complete agreement. That story would suck.